You became a millionaire quite quickly. How exactly did you get there?
I treated it like a serious business from day one.
People don't want to see other people do great because then that makes you question yourself.
One of my big passions is changing that culture, like fuck tall poppy syndrome. That is serving no one. Before I was diagnosed, I didn't know that I was autistic and I just struggled so much. The woman that diagnosed me, she said, Jessie, I want you to know that this is a gift. So the way she diagnosed me really helped me flip it, right? I didn't understand when you work with pure essential oils that they have incredible therapeutic value. All of these people in Australia are listening to the government advice, and the Heart Foundation was promoting to eat margarine and seed oils like as heart healthy, when the actual science and research is known to show that those things, especially margarine, are highly inflammatory and literally cause heart disease. Don't listen to other people, trust yourself, go out after them. And you're gonna have to cop rejection, like it's gonna be hard.
Rejection is a big one.
If you don't want to do business with me, that's cool, you're missing out.
If you're new here, my name is Nelson and I'm the host of the Creative Grid podcast, a space committed to help creative entrepreneurs get successful and achieve anything they want in their life. Normally we have extraordinary individuals as guests. Today is no exception. Today's guest is Jessie Reimers. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes.
Yeah, because I think someone in the last event pronounced your last name wrong or something.
And
I'm like,
then I corrected her very quickly. So
Reimers. Okay.
Yeah.
How do people normally pronounce your last name then?
Some say Reimers, which really irritates me, but it's Reimers. It's a German surname. So that's how you pronounce it.
Cool. I have to say, you look awesome.
Thank you.
First of all, I really like your style. We met about a month ago now on a Fuck Up Night event. Shout out to the organizers. It's been really cool to just be in a space where there are people that it's like all different levels, right? Like there's people that made millions of dollars, seems like a lot of entrepreneurs and people that are in the trenches and just people that want to get into it. So I think in that sense, it's been pretty cool to get a little bit of exposure to all the different levels. That has been awesome. Before we get into it as well, who are you? What do you do? Tell us everything the audience needs to know about you. Jessie.
Sure thing. So I'm Jessie Reimers. I've been in business for 9 years. My primary business is I sell essential oils and natural products that support people's health physically, emotionally, energetically, and help get rid of like all the toxic synthetic, cleaning products and synthetic fragrances that damage hormones, lower testosterone, that kind of thing. So helping people live a more natural wellness, like preventative model-based life around their healthcare. And then I also run a venue in Burleigh Heads called Focal House, which has a photography, videography studio, a music recording studio, podcasting room. It has like a co-working space, and then upstairs there's a venue. So we have like live music and poetry nights and contact dance and lots of different fun community events. And then there's a little like studio downstairs and also like a makeup and wardrobe space downstairs as well as like chill lounging spaces and a bar where I sometimes run my pop-up elixir bar. So lots of fun creative things. I love to sing and dance and play. So mixing business with like creative connection and creating basically a creative hub on the Gold Coast. So yeah, that's my main things. And then I love to run events as well. So yeah, all different events from like kind of ecstatic dance mixed with different creative spaces and yeah, just fun things that light people up.
I definitely want to get especially into the Focal House side of the business, but obviously we need to backtrack a little bit. How do you get to where you are? Because you're doing super well for yourself. From my understanding as well, you have passed 7 figures and everything. So tell us everything of how you got to where you are.
Okay, that's a big story, but I'll try and like make it a little bit shorter and punchier. So when I was maybe like in my early 20s, I started to get really, really unwell. I had significant gut health issues. Like basically I would eat foods and my mouth would swell up, my tongue would swell up in my mouth. I got really bloated all the time and was in pain in my stomach a lot. I also had like significant skin challenges like cystic acne, basically from like 14, 15 until, like the last few years it's cleared up a lot. So that was really hard. Was having panic attacks a lot as well. I got diagnosed with Asperger's, high functioning autism when I was 23. I was, my immune system just was not functioning properly. I would get sick basically every time I went out. I was hospitalized 6 times in 2011. At one stage I was down to 38 kilos. So I was very like malnourished and struggling to receive the nutrients from the food I was eating. And basically, like, I grew up on a shitty kind of Australian diet, like Weet Bix and milk, microwave food, like eating lots of sugar, lots of, potato chips and 2-minute noodles, and like, left school and started drinking on the weekend. So my gut health was ruined. And also I had meningococcal when I was 18 months old. So I spent 6 months in intensive care. My parents had to visit me in hazmat suits, and they said if I got to the hospital half an hour later, I would have either lost all of my limbs or just died completely. So as it was, I had to regrow half my brain, and I had to relearn how to walk and talk. And massive high-dose antibiotics saved my life, and I'm super grateful for that. But they didn't know anything about like replenishing the gut flora, right? So then I had asthma and allergies and spent a lot of my childhood basically living in the children's ward because my asthma was so bad. So I just had a lot of health problems. And so I went to so many different doctors and was told food has nothing to do with your symptoms. Take antidepressants and sleeping pills, which made me like more suicidal and more anxious, right?
Yeah.
And so I started researching basically like, how do I heal myself? How do I heal my gut? I came across the Weston A. Price Foundation. I don't know if you've heard of him, Weston A. Price. He's a dentist that studied traditional tribes like all over the world to see why in mainstream societies so many people have like gappy tooth and like not nice jaw structure and like lots of dental cavities. And he was studying traditional tribes that ate nose to tail of the animal, right, and had lots of animal fats and like churned butter, and like they had perfect jaw structure and they had no dental cavities. Whereas when we introduced grain-based diet and lots of sugar and lots of seed oils and stuff, people's dental structure, jaw structure, cavities, etc., got really cooked. So I started eating real foods and started studying natural medicine. I left my law degree, started studying natural medicine and nutrition. And then my nutrition lecturer was teaching me what I needed to know to pass based on the curriculum, and then a separate amount of information of what I needed to know to actually be a healthy rat. So I was like, this is fucking weird. Is it okay if I swear on this podcast, by the way?
Go ahead, yes.
Right. Why is my nutrition lecturer telling me to pass my thing to eat mostly grains, to eat low fat, to have margarine, canola oil, all this shit, right? That's highly inflammatory, that we know is inflammatory. And then over here telling me to eat like grass-fed butter and like quality animal protein and animal fats, which we're told will kill us and cause heart disease, and saturated fat's bad and all this shit. So I got really upset with that. I was like, all of these people in Australia are listening to the government advice, and the Heart Foundation was promoting to eat margarine and seed oils like canola, vegetable, corn, soybean oil as heart healthy, when the actual science and research is known to show that those things, especially margarine, are highly inflammatory and literally cause heart disease, the thing they're trying to say that they want to prevent, right? And it used to say on their website, sugar as a nutrient is only a concern in terms of dental caries. It's only a problem for your teeth, which is just like such bullshit. There's hundreds of thousands of studies saying it's inflammatory, causes heart disease, all this stuff. So I started this petition to stop the Heart Foundation promoting margarine and processed seed oils as heart healthy, right? And processed foods. Like they've got the tick of approval on Milo cereal, which has 27% refined sugar. They've got the tick of approval on mayonnaise, which has more sugar than a can of Coke. So I was like, screw you guys. I'm going to like do something about this. No one else is doing anything about it. So I started this petition, and for 2 years I sat on my laptop every day and I messaged it to people that were like posting about health and wellness. I would like message little blogs or Facebook pages, and also people with bigger followings like the Food Matters documentary crew, Dr. Joseph McCullough in the US, Diet Doctor from Sweden, Cindy O'Meara, all these people in the wellness industry that like was talking about real food and real fat. I was like, hey guys, I've started a petition. Are you open to sharing it on like with your following? Most people ignored me, like 98% of people ignored me. And then some people would share it. And so it got traction over time because I stuck at it every single day. I was passionate about making change. Eventually, some bigger people with followings like Pete Evans shared the petition. He's from My Kitchen Rules and is, famous for talking about like the paleo diet and stuff like that. Sarah Wilson, who wrote I Quit Sugar, shared it as well. So it started to get traction. And so I got on like ABC Radio National. I was debating the CEO of the Heart Foundation. They went through 3 CEOs in the 2 years that I was running the petition, by the way.
They were at war with you.
They were like struggling a little bit to deal with me, absolutely sending it. I was debating the CEO of the Heart Foundation on ABC Radio National, and she said, milk is a great source of fiber. And I was like, Bro, do you want to have like any basic level of understanding about like literally anything? Like this is embarrassing.
Bro.
Yes, I've got a 13-year-old boy, so I start talking like a 13-year-old sometimes. This shit slaps, that kind of thing, you know? Mom, this cauliflower slaps. That's what he said to me the other night.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
So I started that petition. We ended up getting close to 60,000 signatures. They removed some of the information on their website, like sugar as a nutrient is only a concern in terms of dental caries. They reviewed the TIC program. And also a lot of people started to get educated, and I raised a lot of awareness. So people swapped margarine for actual grass-fed butter and swapping out canola oil for like traditional animal fats and stuff. So a woman that followed my blog, because I had a blog and like a Facebook page where I would share a lot of this information, sent me some samples of essential oils. And she knew that I had gut health issues because I would talk about my health challenges, gut health issues, autoimmune challenges, and that I was anxious and I had panic attacks all the time because I'm autistic. So she sent me Balance, the grounding blend, Zengest, our digestive blend, and On Guard, the immune blend. And I didn't really know anything about essential oils at the time. I thought it was like, oh, you put them in an oil burner or you use them in massage. I didn't understand when you work with pure essential oils that they have incredible therapeutic value. Like when plants grow in nature, they grow the essential oils as their defense mechanism to protect them from viruses and bacteria and mold and stuff in their environment. And they can do that in our own bodies to protect us from threats, but without creating like resistance because they're so naturally chemically complex. They have hundreds of natural compounds. So she sent me some and I started using them to support my gut health, and my bloating went down straight away and I could start to eat more foods, and it was really like incredibly supportive. I would put a drop in water, drink that, do a clockwise stomach massage, and it helped me a lot. Then I started using our immune blend on the soles of my feet, and I stopped getting hospitalized all the time. I stopped getting sick all the time. So I was like, this is really impressive. I started using the grounding blend on my wrists, on the soles of my feet to help with feeling like less anxious. And it really worked. When you smell something, it enters the limbic system, which is the emotional center of your brain. And so that is our fastest track down memory lane, so we can anchor in different emotions and moods and really support ourselves. So I was really impressed with that. And she said, Jessie, there's a business opportunity if you're interested in that. And I was like, cool, well, I've like developed a little following. My following has never been huge, but it was very like loyal and trusted what I had to say, right? Because I was like up against the Heart Foundation and talking about stuff that was based on truth instead of profits, right? And so, I started sharing essentials on my social media. I started running little workshops, sometimes for like 1 or 2 people in my home or at a library. And initially it was a very small movement, but I was passionate about it. I've always been passionate about natural wellness because that's how I've healed through like yoga and meditation and eating whole foods and animal fats and broths and like telling myself I love myself instead of I'm a piece of shit, which was my mindset, before. And so people that trusted what I had to share started buying the essential oils from me. And I went from Centrelink to making 6 figures in 11 months from when I first bought my own little starter kit. And then less than 2.5 years into my business, so just after I turned 26, I started making $1 million a year profit in my business, which was just like wild to me, like from Centrelink and struggling to feed my kids and pay rent to making $1 million a year profit with doTERRA essential oils was just beyond anything I ever thought I was capable of or possible for me as someone that was so anxious and socially isolated and like really didn't want to be here, to be honest. Like I was struggling a lot in my life to having community in my life and having tools to powerfully support myself every day and being able to share that hope with others. So that's a little bit about that side of my business.
All right. So getting back into like everything you were saying, I'm curious because I thought when you were saying like the autistic jokes, when I first met you, you kind of tend to bring it in a funny, light way, that you're autistic and all that. How has that become almost like an asset to you and your business? I'm curious to see like how and when did you manage to switch it from this is maybe a disadvantage to no, this is something that makes me unique, special, and also I can use as an asset to propel myself to where I'm trying to go.
100%. I have turned it into a superpower for myself. But initially, like before I was diagnosed, I didn't know that I was autistic, and I just struggled so much socially and to like fill in forms and to do basic things like go shopping and prepare food and like just function basically, you know, and I have sensory overwhelm. Like I'm very sensitive to synthetic smells, to fluoro lights, to crowds, to energies and stuff. So that my whole life was just like overwhelming and filled with crippling anxiety, basically. And so once I was diagnosed, the woman that diagnosed me, Dr. Michelle Garnett, she works with Tony Attwood, who is one of the world leading experts in autism. And when she diagnosed me, she said, Jessie, I want you to know that this is a gift that comes with a set of challenges. So the way she diagnosed me really helped me flip it, right? And I was like, okay, well, how can I hone in on the gift, which is like I have hyper focus. And when I am passionate about something like I am about essential oils or health and wellness and natural health, I can hone in on that and become so obsessed that I research everything. And then I have this gift to like take complicated things that many people would struggle to like fully understand, or they wouldn't have the time to like do all the research and reading. And I can take the necessary bits and then make them simple and speak in a way that creates it to land in people's bodies and like understand it, right? So I took that and I used that, and then I've created a business to such an extent that now the things that I struggle with, like housekeeping and cleaning and filling in forms and bookkeeping and accounting, I just outsource and pay other people to do that. And also understanding that I am autistic, I make sure to like have gaps in my day. So if I have back-to-back appointments, that's just too much for me. I get overwhelmed and anxious. But if I have like this podcast and then I know I've got a gap after, I can go to the beach, I can eat some food, I can make sure I do my meditation and my practices and use my essential oils to really like ground myself in. So my nervous system is like settled instead of erratically just anxious and overwhelmed with the sensory stuff that I experience. So yeah, thanks for asking.
What are the disadvantages that you still have? You mentioned some of them, but what are, would you say, like the ones that are always a challenge for you or present obstacles?
It's always a challenge for me to like deal with the tax office, you know, but I think that's a challenge for most people anyway.
That's a challenge for me too. You know?
Yeah, it's a challenge for me. Like this morning I was at the Social Brew and this guy walked in wearing so much cologne and like that stuff immediately gives me a headache and makes me feel overwhelmed. So it's a challenge for me to like fly anywhere, like going to an airport, dealing with all the announcements super loud, the fluoro lights, the like, it's very overwhelming for me. I'm much better at dealing with it than I used to be, but it's still definitely a challenge. You know, like going to a supermarket even, or like, you know, Pack Fair or like a big Westfield shopping centre is like not my vibe. Luckily, I don't really have to do that much. Like we don't shop at Woolworths. We go to the farmer's market. So I've kind of set my life up to not really have to deal with things that really overwhelm me. But I do a lot of travel for my business. I obviously didn't in the last few years, but it's picking back up again. So I just take like my noise cancelling headphones and I have my essential oils and I meditate on the plane and I do things that ground and support my nervous system. But I definitely, like I have a panic attack maybe once every 6 months as opposed to 3 times a week.
Wow.
So there's still challenges, but it's like so much more manageable now because I have the tools and I know what triggers me.
So it sounds like as well that you're an expert and you've been doing a lot of research in this health and wellness space. What are the habits that you currently have on a day-to-day basis?
I wake up, I do my 20-minute Vedic meditation, which has just been such a life-changing tool for me. And then I take my MetaPower, which is a collagen powder, 9 types of bioavailable marine collagen, and it has NMN, which allows my body to produce more NAD+. I'm not sure if you've heard of this. It's like a big thing in the biohacking space. NAD+ is a vital coenzyme that supports our mitochondria, which is the energy powerhouse of our cells. So it supports me with sustained energy and like cognitive function. I don't drink coffee because I'm autistic. I also have a heart condition. So I don't want to drink coffee for energy because it just makes me jittery and like anxious. So I have that. And then I normally go to Pilates or I go for a workout on the beach with Gold Coast Sisterhood, which I'm loving. And they do breathwork and connection afterwards. And then I'll have a high protein kind of breakfast, like either eggs and bacon or just like reheat beef brisket from the night before and sweet potato roasted in duck fat or beef tallow, which is just delicious.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, so good. And then I generally get into my workday. So start creating social media content or like jump on mentoring calls with my team or in our Facebook group of our team that share essential oils and wellness with others and support other people to be successful as well. But I like to mix it up with like going to the beach and having a swim in the ocean, getting my like feet on the earth, body in the sun. I don't want to be on a computer all day because that'll just cook me. So mixing it up with, spending time with my man or like, going out, having fun, going to a waterfall, like breaking my week up with time in nature.
At what time do you normally go to bed? What time do you wake up? And when you meditate as well, how exactly do you do it? I'm always curious to see like how people are actually implementing meditation, because I know there's like several ways of doing it and everyone has like their own little thing maybe that they do. So I'm curious about those three things.
Yeah, sure. I wake up normally about 5:30, 6 o'clock. And then I just meditate there in bed. I've got this beautiful view of gum trees and the sun kind of rises over the bed. So I open up the curtains, and as the sun's rising, Vedic meditation is where you say a mantra silently in your mind. So when you learn Vedic meditation, your teacher will give you a specific mantra for yourself that you don't tell other people. And then you're just like quietly, very, very quietly in your mind, as quiet as possible, just repeating the mantra. That's been really helpful for me because I've always found silent meditation really difficult. The thoughts and stuff are just like, so for me, saying a mantra really, really quietly helps me really drop in powerfully. So I do that straight away in bed, and then I get up and drink my MetaPower and go work out or go for a walk on the beach. I go to bed generally between like 9 and 10. I kind of want to be even earlier than that. I'd like to scale it back to 8:30, but like 9, 9:30, 10 is absolute latest. I aim for 9, 9:30.
Yeah, that's 8:30 is the sweet spot.
Yeah,
I wake up at 5 as well every day, and when I get to bed by 8 and I have like half an hour to just read or whatever, just fully like put myself in low mode, I sleep like a king and I wake up like such full of energy.
Epic.
Now going back into the essential oils and doTERRA and all this business model, I'm curious to know like, okay, once you start doing it, obviously sounds like you became a millionaire quite quickly. How exactly did you do it? Like tell us, like piece it apart so we understand how the journey went and what were the challenges to get there. Because I think like even for myself, like I'm aiming for financial freedom, right? And I'm going for millions of dollars. I'm going for all of this. I'm here to dominate, right? Like sounds like you are as well. So I'm curious to know, like first of all, what made it so quick for you? Because I bet not many people in your space have done it that quick. And then what were like the challenges along the way? What were you facing on a day-to-day? How exactly did you get there?
Yeah, I love this question. And I love your energy. I love that you're going out after your goals and going for millions as well. It's epic to be around people like you. So for me, I treated it like a serious business from day one. I was like, okay, I know that what I'm looking at, it's possible to make a lot of money, and I see the pathway, and I'm going to commit to daily small steps in the direction of my dreams, like no matter what, right? So I started sharing on social media, just like if my kid gets bit by a green ant in the backyard, I'm going to put lavender on because it's a powerful antihistamine, removes the swelling and the heat and stops the pain from him straight away. So sharing simple tips like that, sharing that I was using the Zengest and that it's helping with my bloating, just sharing like simple posts. Like this is 9 years ago I started, so we didn't have reels and stuff. I was just like taking a photo or sharing a written post, like here's what I'm doing to support XYZ, or here's a recipe that I'm making, you know, as a mom, and then just doing little workshops, like literally on my back patio, but I did them weekly. And it didn't matter if one person showed up. Like that would, a lot of people, this is what happens. People show up in business and they don't get results like minute one, right? Or like one person shows up, or sometimes no one would show up. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with this time? Like maybe I'll sit here and do the workshop on a live on Facebook or Instagram because I'm prepared. I'm here to teach a workshop and no one's here. So I'm going to show up anyway. Like I saw the vision and I was so deeply connected to the purpose and passion and hope and healing that I knew I could bring to others, that I was just like, also I got so sick of being poor in my life, being shit. I'm just like, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I have to do to not be this way. Like this sucks. I'm going to move away from this shit time and I'm going to powerfully and consistently show up. And like, it was hard. I have severe anxiety. I'm autistic. Before every workshop I ever ran, I was like, okay, how can I get out of this? Can I cut my leg off in a car accident? Can I like, I'm sick, I need to cancel. Like that was my thought every single time. But I was just like, okay. And sometimes I did cancel because my anxiety was so severe, but it was less than 1% of the time. 99% of the time I showed up and I kept showing up. And what were some of the challenges? The challenges was like I was 23 when I started and I was living in a shit house that got broken into 4 times a year, driving a beat up Holden Commodore where the back was smashed in. And I would take that to workshops and teach workshops and let people know that you can create financial freedom. And they'd look at my car and be like, driving a beat up Commodore, the back is smashed in and you can't afford to fix it. I'm like, yeah, I can't, but here's the vision, here's where I'm going. So some people, like a year later, one woman messaged me, you know, after I bought my Mercedes. She was like, I was at one of your early workshops and I saw the car you were driving and I was like, this is bullshit. And now look what you've done. You've gone and shown us, haven't you? And I was like, yeah, I have. You can still join right now, just so you know. The opportunity hasn't disappeared completely. So yeah, the challenges also are because my business model, like the reason I'm so successful is I've helped other people become successful. I've helped other people share essential oils and make money as well. But the biggest challenge is helping people overcome the limiting beliefs, worrying about what other people think about them, like the fear that comes up in like presenting a workshop or showing up on social media. You know, you've got to like move through your shit to show up and share things with others. And also people take shots. Like there's been a lot of shots fired in my direction, you know. Tall poppy syndrome is a thing that exists in Australia. One of my big passions is changing that culture. Like fuck tall poppy syndrome. That is serving no one. You know, in America, people are so inspired by people that are successful and they want to learn from them. And so I believe that culture is possible to create here. And it does exist here. I'm in spaces where people are like excited to learn from me and I'm excited to learn from you, right? And if we can foster more of that culture, like fuck yeah, you're killing it. And like, I'm inspired by you. How can I learn from you? But that was a challenge coming up against tall poppy syndrome, coming up against people's limiting beliefs, coming up against people's judgment about who I am and what I'm doing. And like, I'm a very upfront and kind of brutally honest person and that triggers people. So yeah, just having to like, am I going to buy into people's shit around who I am and what I'm doing? Or am I going to be like, I'm going to go out there and help the people that want to be helped? Because also at the same time, while they're quieter, people that I was helping were grateful for that, you know? And sometimes it is hard to like tune into, okay, I'm getting messages that this is helping this person a lot with their health, or this person is now making money and like supporting their family and way less stressed about finances as opposed to Jessie's a loser and she only cares about money and she's a piece of shit, whatever, you know, that's loud. And to be honest, it did start to affect me. I went through this period where I stopped showing up as much and like went into my shell a bit because it got so intense just being shat on all the time. And it's been kind of recently that I'm like, no, fuck this. Like I want to go more places and I want to help even more people. So I'm going to have to tune that out and go out after my goals again and help as many people as possible.
There's so much gold in everything that you said there. And it makes it so clear to me of why you have become so successful in the realm that you're operating at. And it's because you have all the attributes of someone that is a champion, not even a winner, a champion, someone that dominates to whatever they choose to do, right? You have the delusional belief. And it resonates so much with me, what you're saying, because same for me. I don't think I told you when I met you, I don't know, but I'm a former dentist. So I became a dentist back home in Venezuela. Then, you know, I came here 7 years ago and quit all of that because of a tragic loss of someone that was very dear to me. That made me kind of reframe life and think of what exactly do I want to do? What's life meant to be to me? What do I want to accomplish and all of that? And then making videos came to be that thing that I just wanted to pursue. And everyone around me was just telling me how stupid I was to quit something like dentistry and such a perceived and paid position in society and this and that to pursue this thing of making videos. You don't want to make money. People, even people that I thought were friends back then, when I was like, fuck it. I saw these people doing YouTube and I'm like, something told me that I should be doing that, that I'm meant to be there and that I could do that. Like, I don't know what it was. Something just told me I could do that and I could do that great, you know, be great at that. And I just started doing it. I remember people just, mocking me up. That's why I will even argue that the tall poppy syndrome is a universal thing. I know a lot of people think it's just in Australia, but in my experience, it's actually everywhere. Yeah. And I think it's set a lot by your surrounding, by your environment, by the kind of vibe that you put out there as well. Because it's like people don't want to see other people do great, because then that makes you question yourself. You know, because if I'm around someone that is making millions of dollars and I'm not making millions of dollars, and I know that that person works hard, that I know that that person is committed, I know that person has discipline, I instantly have to question myself because I'm like, wait, I don't have millions of dollars, but this person does, and this is all they do. That's not what I'm doing. So clearly I'm not as hard worker. Clearly I'm not as disciplined. Clearly I don't have a bigger vision. You know, I'm not talking to the right people. So in a way, whether they know it or not, subconsciously, they know, you know, that they're not doing either things right, or they could do things better, or they're just being plain lazy, or they're too arrogant. That's actually the biggest reason why I think most people never get to like live a fulfilling life or pursue the things that they love, and they have to stay maybe trapped in a job they hate or a relationship they hate. It's because they're too arrogant. You know, there's people out there like you that they could go to, talk to, and maybe just learn from, and they're like, nah, that person doesn't know enough. Nah, that person doesn't know about my industry or this and that. You know, they're too arrogant to actually change. And another segment is of people that, you know, they might be scared to do it, of either failing or succeeding, which is super interesting. And so, yeah, that I just had to kind of like drop all of that because everything you said has resonated so much with me. But I also want to bring it back to the essential oil side of things and the business. So how exactly were you making money? You said like it was helping other people make money, right? So how does exactly that look like? Because I haven't actually heard of doTERRA until I met you a month ago. And then like my friend told me, oh, it's an essential oils company. My girlfriend has used the products and all that. I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah. So how exactly were you selling products and then helping people get onto to sell products? Like how exactly does it work?
Yeah, so basically how it works is I can help other people get a wholesale account. So a lot of it was on social media, but also the in-person workshop. So I would teach people about the essential oils, and then if they want to buy a starter kit, or a custom order, then they can get their own wholesale account. It gets drop shipped, and I get some commission for them getting a wholesale account. So a lot of our people are just customers. They want it for personal use. They get it drop shipped instead of buying toxic stuff from the chemist and supermarket. Then some of those people want to share. So if they share with others, they help other people get a wholesale account, then they start making commission for that. And so then they can get their products for free, or they can start earning a side stream of income. And then some people want to create a really serious and thriving business like I have. So then they share with more people and they help those other people share. And like basically you get bonuses and commissions for the more people you help either be a customer or the more people you help share. And so that's why I make so much money, because I've helped a lot of people become customers, but then also helped other distributors. And we have it in health food stores, we have it in spas, we have it in gyms, we have it in, lots of practitioners use our products. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. It's the biggest essential oil company in the world, and they're completely debt-free, and they have like such an epic, brand. Like people love and know doTERRA because they're 100% pure and they're ethically and sustainably sourced. So does that kind of give you a bit of an idea?
A lot better. And then in terms of the founder, like, because that's what you are, right? Like Australian founder. What exactly does that mean? Does that mean that you got a certain amount of people within it, and then, you start going above levels until you reach that like high status that I'm guessing there's nowhere to go now? Is it like what? How exactly is that?
I'm a presidential diamond leader, which is the top rank in the company, and then they created this founders club because they wanted to recognize how hard we work to not only train our teams but other people's teams as well. Like I run lots of public trainings, and people can come that are in other people's teams, and I just want to help everyone thrive and succeed. So they created this founders club where they rewarded people that have worked really hard to create a massive business like I have, and that means that we get a percentage of the entire country, and actually New Zealand as well. Volume as well. Like we get paid a percentage of everybody's sales, even people not in my team. So that's a big check on top of my bonus check from what I've created with the company. So
is that like an annual thing?
Bonus? Yeah.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah. It's
how many
sick.
people do you guys have in Australia?
In my team, there's 40,000 people in my team, about 33,000 in Australia. And then I have people in New Zealand, the UK, Cyprus, France. Like it's a global business.
Yeah.
We're about to open in Dubai. We're about to open in Indonesia. And we have opened in the Philippines. So there's founders spots available in those locations as well, which is really, really exciting. So yeah. Big business. I maybe introduced 500 to 1,000 people. How there's 40,000 people is I helped other people introduce people as well.
That is insane.
Yeah,
like
it's
that's
big.
a
it's like
whole
a football stadium.
Yeah, that is wild. So how does it work now for you to make money? Is it literally you don't have to do anything and it's only like everything is monthly recurring revenue from all these people that you have brought into a business? How does it work now?
Yeah, it's monthly recurring income because we have such a big customer base and we have such incredible retention, like because we educate people about the products. And once they have products where it helps them sleep, it helps with like period pain, it helps with anxiety, and it helps them get rid of toxins, they don't want to go back and buy that toxic shit anymore. So they continue to order each month if they want to. It's just optional, but we have very high customer retention. And so I get a monthly check for that. We also get like weekly bonuses as well. But from here, like I want to continue to help other people grow thriving businesses and I can increase my own revenue. My earning potential is unlimited with doTERRA because once you hit the top rank, you can even open a new account and go for top rank again. And you can do that as many times as you want. So, but I'm really focused on helping other people create big business. And then I get a percentage of their volume paid out each month. So yeah, that's what I'm focusing on now is just helping other leaders like get to the top as well. Yeah, I've helped a lot of people make money and I want to continue to do that because it's like, it's one thing achieving it for myself, like being financially free, you know, being able to drive a car that's like not totally cooked and living in a beautiful home and having amazing holidays. But the feeling that I get when I help other people achieve that, that's like, that doesn't get old. I'm like, oh yes. Especially people who are like struggling financially or have shown up so hard in whatever business model they are in, but it hasn't really given them like long-term sustainable income. It's like, oh, I got to keep finding clients or like chasing this thing. And, you know, this is such a long-term stable situation. So that feels really good. That excites me.
Yeah. And that's like, there's nothing that comes close to that, right? Like being able to help someone else that was so desperately needed the solution that you had to them, or just even like providing the tools for them to transform, which is what I aim to do with this podcast as well. You know, if everyone can take one idea of the one episode and whatever and go and implement it in their lives and get to a newer level, that's everything to me. And with the people, even the people that work with us, you know, like just seeing how they evolve, how they get better, how everything within who they are gets to a whole new level because of being in with Vice Creative or, you know, supporting the mission that we're on. That to me makes me the happiest. And that's why also after this, like after we conquer the podcasting space for our clients and for ourselves, I just want to teach other creative entrepreneurs how to do it, like provide even more in-depth like tools that are being able to acquire along the way to actually get to this position and the whole next position that I'm on the journey of. So like, okay, you became a millionaire, right? When exactly, you mentioned, I think 26, did you say that was when it happened? But before that, what was the holy shit moment? This is going to work. Because obviously you had the vision, right? Yeah. And it's exactly like me and every other entrepreneur. You have the vision, you have the big dream, you're working super hard to make it happen, but there's no promised land, right? You just have to you have to take the jump and believe that you're gonna land. That's how it works. So what exactly was the moment for you where you were like, holy shit, this is actually going to work?
This is a cool question. I love your mindset, by the way. I love that you want to help other creative entrepreneurs like succeed. It's so epic to be around that. For me, like I remember when I started, I was working my ass off, right? I was like really showing up social media every day, like networking, running these events. And so many times it was like no people or very, you know, small results in the beginning or what felt small for me, or I wasn't getting paid like huge amounts of money, right? Because I'm creating the foundation of a business. But it's like I was making some money, maybe 500 to 1,000 a week, 2,000 a week, which was epic, but it's not like the big money. And so I would ring my mentor and I'd be like, I'm working my ass off and like this doesn't feel like I'm ever going to get anywhere. Like when am I going to actually, you know, see some like serious results? And she was like, Jessie, don't quit. Like if you keep going and you get to these higher levels, you're going to get paid for not only what you're doing at that level, but everything you've done to create this foundation. And so I would get frustrated. I'm like, oh, like am I ever going to get there? I'm working so hard. And then, so I just kept going. I just kept believing. I kept trusting. And I remember this one day, like I'd hit that 6-figure mark. And then a couple months after that, I was maybe making like 9,000 to 12,000 a month, which was fucking unbelievable, like for where I'd come from. But I was in this tiny town in North Queensland called Moranbah. It's a mining town. And I was at the Black Nugget, which is the one pub in the country, having a steak or something. And I was out there like teaching some workshops because we have people from all over Australia. People like find me online from these rural areas, and then it's like, okay, go teach a workshop or do a thing. And I went into the bathroom and I went on my back office because it was payday. And I'd gone from making $9,000 to $12,000 a month to this new level where I got $43,000 in a single calendar month. And that kind of money to me was just like, holy shit. And I remember just seeing that number and like sweating and like starting to hyperventilate, like, oh, what the fuck? This is wild. And then it was interesting because like I'd tried to do a lot of work to overcome my money shit, right? Because making a lot of money is, I don't know, there's so much in society that's like rich people are assholes and like it's not spiritual to be rich and money is the root of all evil and all this bullshit, right? So you got to do a lot of, well, I had to do a lot of work to work through these limiting beliefs. I used tapping or emotional freedom technique to work through that. There's this YouTube video by Brad Yates where I just tap every day to work through my money shit. And, but I remember being so uncomfortable with having that amount of money because like prior to that I was on Centrelink and then started to make money, but then it's like this big leap to like what felt like huge money to me. And so I spent like all of it in 2 weeks so that I could feel comfortable with like a normal amount of money again. I like got all this beautiful furniture for my home and like did stuff. But then I like had too little money for the last 2 weeks of the month because it was so uncomfortable. So I've had to do work to not only make money, but also like hold the money and not just get rid of it super quick. So yeah, that was probably the moment where I was like, well, this shit is real. Like I can actually do some big stuff here.
And I was explaining to someone that when you start unlocking new levels of money, it's almost like a scuba diver. You have to start equalizing, like you just can't go from, 5 to 10K and then from 10 to 50 or whatever without adjusting your mindset and everything around it. Because otherwise you're just going to lose the money or you're going to be taken advantage of. Like it's like a whole new level every time, right? So right now, within your level, how much are you making a year? You don't have to give an exact number.
I took 4 years off and also COVID took a bit of a hit on our business. So I'm making on average about $40,000 a month right now. Which is what, like $500,000 a year. And so I made over $1 million a year for about 3 or 4 years straight. And then COVID hit and we weren't able to run events and like a whole bunch of stuff. I also just took time off because I couldn't deal with the tall poppy syndrome. So right now we're building back up to the like 90K plus months, but I'm still making amazing money and I took 4 years off, like wild.
So all those years you were doing nothing and you were literally being paid.
All those years, like through COVID, I was getting 45K a month, 50K a month and doing nothing. Chilling, swimming in the ocean, playing Catan, board games, like eating good food, just spending time with my kids, spending time with community, doing fuck all, basically. Going to festivals, having fun.
How do you spend your money? How do you spend it? How do you invest it? Like, what exactly do you do with your money?
Well, I've invested in Focal House, that venue in Burleigh. I was not smart with my money. Like, I could be in such a different position right now, but it's all right. I'll make peace with that. I spent it a lot on travel and experiences. Like, I was flying business class all over the world and, like, staying in super nice places. I was 23 when I started my business. So I also wasn't in, like, a stable relationship and I was just like, let's have fun. I went from being poor to making a shitload of money. So it's like, spent my money on a Mercedes, got a really cool caravan, I drive a total Land Cruiser. But they're not smart investments, guys. Like if you start making money, don't invest in cars. Like have some fun travel, but maybe like get some properties going, invest in some good things. So right now, Jack and my partner are working towards buying our first property. And I think property is a wise investment. Once we have property, I'd like to start investing in more, stocks and different things like that. So don't take financial advice from me because I haven't been smart with money, but I'm getting there now. It's cool. We still got time.
Yeah.
I judged myself so harshly for my financial choices. And now I'm just like at this place of making peace with it. I've had incredible experiences and I still have plenty of time to own our own house and, do things a bit differently.
Yeah. And I think to get to the top, you will get bruised, like on the way to the top. Like there's no way. It's the same for me. Like I have made so many fucking bad decisions when it comes to money, and that some of them were plainly ignorance. Like I had no idea that was a bad decision or not a great decision when it came to financials and the future of it. Some of it I thought like, yeah, this is the right place to put my money. No. But shit. So what is financial freedom to you? What exact number and why?
It's interesting because when I got to six figures, when I was like a kid or a young person, I always thought, if I make over 100,000 a year, you know, like that'll be fucking amazing. And then I got to that number, I was like, this is like not freedom at all. Yeah. I think minimum $1 million a year is like true freedom where you can, you know, own property. And also like for me, freedom is being able to buy organic food and like have any healing modality that I want to have access to and like go on a holiday and not be like, oh shit, like we can't, you know, take the helicopter ride or like stay there or go to that really, like I want to go to the nicest restaurants in the places that I travel. And like it's choice. It's having choice to do basically whatever the fuck you want and then know that all of your bills are paid. Like if you have a mortgage, knowing you can pay your mortgage and buy whatever food you want and take whatever holidays you want, like just having choice and being able to give back to causes you're passionate about, like being in such a surplus. It's like I've donated tens and tens of thousands of dollars to causes that I'm passionate about. So yeah, a million a year minimum to me is like true financial freedom.
It's like baseline. That's why it also happened to me and people around me, like you think like 100K or 200K or whatnot is like a lot of money. And then you start doing business when you start actually stepping into becoming a business owner and, you know, having a team and all these things. You're like, holy shit, this is not that much money.
No, it goes quick, especially if you've got to pay a team. Like luckily in my business, my industry, doTERRA pays the people that are in my team and then I get paid for helping them. So it's like I have minimal overheads. It's basically like my website and my mailing list and that's kind of it. Pretty much, yeah. I had an admin assistant for like 10 hours a week, but at the moment I don't because, just wasn't really working for me. I would love to have more help with like shooting content, like editing reels and stuff. So I need to invest in that at some point.
You know who to talk to, Jessie.
I know who to talk to, yeah.
Yeah. So why Focal House, by the way? That I thought it was such a interesting approach coming from when you started and the type your business you were in. Like what made you go into Focal House and can you speak a little bit more about that side of the business that is closely related to what we do as well? Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Music festivals have really like changed my life. I remember when I started going to Earth Frequency Festival, maybe like 6 years ago, just feeling so connected to the land and seeing other people express like through fashion and dance and song. Like I love being on a dusty dance floor with my friends and singing and like I love to sing as well. I play the harmonium, which is like a little Indian piano accordion thing and sing mantras in circle and stuff. And I see the joy and healing that comes through play and creativity and song and dance and stuff. So my friend Riley, who's does a lot of costume design, she's a stylist and she does a lot of like the production and management of the performers at big festivals. She called me one day and she was like, hey, Jessie, there's an opportunity that I think you should come check out. And my partner Jack and I were already looking at creating like a music venue and elixir bar on the Gold Coast, but it had kind of fallen through. Like we got screwed around with the space we were looking at opening. So we were already interested in a business like that where people can come and like sing and dance and play in a really safe and loving space. I don't love the binge drinking scene in Australia. Like that for me, I feel unsafe around drunks. I don't like that scene. I've had an ex who was an alcoholic and he was quite abusive to me when he was drinking. So I'm passionate about creating spaces where people can express creatively without needing 20 beers to socially lubricate or whatever. Like I'm fine if people can drink and actually do that responsibly and maintain the integrity of their soul and spirit and who they are. But when it's sloppy and just, it's not my scene. So coming to Focal House and seeing Curtis's vision, he's a film producer, and seeing his vision of a creative hub and then knowing I could create my own events there where it's running the elixir bar. So elixirs are Blue Lotus iced tea and fun lemonades and kombuchas and stuff with mushroom and herbal tinctures. So you can be on a really heart opening, beautiful buzz or have energy with cordyceps mushroom and stuff without the alcohol involved. So yeah, creating those kinds of spaces. I just saw the vision of what he wanted to do there. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm about this. Because Jack and I have house parties and have DJs and live musicians and the elixir bar at home and all these fun things. But to have a space where other creatives and people could come together and collaborate. I knew I would meet incredible people through the space and just be involved in creatives having a place to express as well. Like I love poetry nights where like first time poets can get up on stage and they're super nervous and like shitting themselves, but we can all support them to like express through the written word or the spoken word, something that's true to their heart. Like that lights me up. Running like open mic shows and like getting people to sing or dance or perform lights me up. So yeah, I wanted to be a part of something creative like that.
That's awesome. I have to go to the place because I keep hearing, a couple of people told me as well, like, oh, that place is awesome. And I'm like, yeah, I need to go check it out. I met Jessie recently and I need to have a look at it. But what I'm curious to, first of all, the partnership that you have with this person, was it like a 50-50? And then also, if that's the case, or if you, even if you came and as an investor or something, like what made you go into business with this guy? Like what exactly were the traits that you were looking to be like, yeah, okay, I believe in this guy? Because obviously you're building doTERRA as well.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing this is kind of like a more play to you, more on the side thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, what exactly made you believe like, yeah, this guy?
I just go on energy, right? Like I met Curtis and I felt his vision and I felt his heart. He's very like open-hearted, like, you know, he meditates and does breath work and is down the beach every morning, you know, tapping into his own source and connection. And he just felt like a really genuine human to me and like very passionate about the creative arts. And it felt very in alignment with my passion. So just hearing him speak and share, you know, why he's doing this, tapping into his why and the purpose behind it. I don't know. I just like, I saw the space. It was an empty shell of a warehouse at that time. And I'm one of the investors. So there's him. He's a visionary and the main person behind it. And then I think there's 2 other silent investors. So I own a percentage of the business. Yeah. And I just was like, I back this. I don't know. I just trust it, which is kind of like risky. Like any bricks and mortar business is risky. It's still a risky decision. Like it could go belly up, like any venue or bricks and mortar business. I mean, you got to pay a shitload in rent and then like overheads, and the fit out was hugely expensive. So yeah, it's risky, but so far we're paying rent and like our head on bills. So that's good.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, because how long has it been running?
We had our open day early Feb, so not that long. Yeah, like maybe 6 months or something.
What's been the most profitable side of that business?
We have kind of bigger events on like a Friday, Saturday night. It's like a couple of grand for that. So that really helps. But overall, I think it's just like the music recording studio is kind of permanently rented by a production team. And then like there's, you know, Riley renting out the creative wardrobe and stuff, and then the hot desking. So it's kind of like a combination of the spaces being more kind of permanently booked out, which helps pay the rent. But then like, yeah, these different events coming in. So it's, a mixed bag. But those big Friday, Saturday night events like really help pay the bills.
What are the overheads on a place like that? And how big is it?
It's a big warehouse. Like, yeah, it's pretty, I'm not sure of the exact square meterage, but it's like a 3-part warehouse with it's upstairs, downstairs, and a lot of quite sizable spaces. I mean, the main overheads is the huge amount of rent, which I forget the exact number, maybe like $9,000 a month or something. And then, you know, there's different staff costs in terms of like managing the booking system and different pieces like that. I mean, like maintenance and cleaning and stuff. Like obviously you've got to clean after every single event. So yeah, probably rent is the main one. Yeah.
Who brought or who's taking charge of the part of like lead generation, like the marketing and all of that? I've seen you guys do Facebook ads and all of this, but like I'm curious who brought in kind of like the approach when it comes to lead generation and marketing?
Definitely Curtis and the social media side of things, and I'm more like the community word of mouth. I mean, he does that as well, like bringing people through word of mouth. But like my friend Kira Lee runs Contact Dance there every Sunday afternoon, which is freaking awesome. Do you know Contact Dance, where people like use their bodies to kind of dance with each other and play? It's really fun. My friend Nick has come down and started the Liquid Lyrics Poetry event. So I bring people in word of mouth, and then Curtis does the social media, like marketing side of things. He makes videos and is a film producer as well. So he manages that. Yeah.
Obviously, Jessie, you have a couple businesses. You're doing super well for yourselves. Sounds like you're in a good relationship as well, that you have kids, that everything seems to be going super well. What are you currently dealing with? I'm always curious to see, because obviously from the outside perspective, it's easy for people to be like, oh, Jessie has everything, you know, or she's where I could never be or anything like that. But the more I meet people that are playing at the highest level when it comes to business or life in general, they all have something going on, some demons that they're battling, or some dragons that they have to slay, right? So what exactly are the things that are your current challenges or obstacles or that you're dealing with?
I mean, I've had quite a lot of trauma in my life. I've been in some very abusive relationships, and my health was obviously a massive challenge when I was younger. I'm actually the healthiest and fittest that I've ever been, but if I eat the wrong thing, my gut will flare up. So I have to be quite careful with that. For me, dealing with the trauma and stuff, like even now, if Jack, my partner, who is extremely loving and very safe and a beautiful man, if he'll have a drink, even like tasting it when I kiss him can sometimes trigger like a PTSD response. I was also in a horrific motor vehicle accident in 2020. I got hit by a fuel tanker at 90 k's an hour. It ripped off the front of the ute and the whole car span around, and I don't know how the fuck we're alive. Like I think it was miraculous intervention. But I have PTSD from that. But meditation actually is really helping me deal with that. I've tried like so many different things and like counseling and stuff, and just talking about it really doesn't like help me, you know. I'm sure it maybe helps some people, but meditation, literally go in and kind of control, alt, delete these trauma. I went on this incredible rounding retreat recently where we did up to 8 hours a day of like yoga, asanas, pranayama, breathwork and meditation. And I can feel a lot of it, like it brought up a lot, and I had some big emotional releases. But yeah, dealing with the past trauma in my life is a thing that I continue to need to face. And also just ensuring that I have a good balance of like, because right now Jack and I are like on the road to buying land. So we're working our fucking asses off to get there, right? And like building the business back up because I did nothing for 4 years, you know, it went down by like half, which is pretty significant. So just also finding people that want to work with us that are willing to work through their shit. And I've attracted some amazing people recently, but it's like, yeah, a lot of people say they want to do it and then kind of are unwilling to work through the shit to actually like do what it takes to build a business. So that's always a challenge. Raising teenagers and raising kids is challenging as well. Jack and I are both part-time parents because we had our kids before we met. And so his kids have a different mom, and then, my kids as well. So just dealing with like, you know, Dom going through puberty, my oldest son, and his attitude is challenging, but I just try to love him the best I can and like meet him on a humorous kind of level because we're very similar. It's like I'm raising a pain in the ass version of myself, and I'm a huge pain in the ass. So it's like facing off with him and his attitude and like just trying to love him in that and get him outside. Like he went through that phase of like, I don't know if you did this when you were a teenager, but locking yourself in your room, playing video games and like not really wanting to come out. So like coaxing him, like, come to the beach. He's like, I don't want to go to the fucking beach. I'm like, Dom, it's going to be fun. I promise you. And then we get to the beach and like he ends up having fun and we drive home. I'm like, Dom, so you had fun? And he's like, yeah, I'm having fun. And then the next day I'm like, let's go do this thing. He's like, I don't want to fucking do that thing. I'm like, how do you not remember? We did this yesterday. So anyway, I just like force his ass to get up and like go do fun thing in nature. Yeah. But it's not always easy. He's just copying his attitude like a lot at the moment, but it's cool. It's a stage, and just love him in it.
Yeah. So when do you have your first kid? Like, and how many do you both have? 2 each one that came in. So now it's like, wow,
4 boys total.
Yeah, right.
I had Dominic at 19 years old, and that was a fucking tough time in my life. I was very socially isolated and had no idea what I was doing, and like I had postnatal depression and a very traumatic birth and like birthing him, and lots of unnecessary hospital intervention, and it's fucking tough.
How difficult has it been for you, the relationship side of things? Because it seems like it took you a lot to find Jack, your current partner.
Very difficult. One of the most difficult things in my life for sure. Like dealing with, insecure men that are threatened by like who I am and how much money I've been able to make, and a lot of men that I dated would take advantage of that and just basically use me and just pick on me because of their own insecurities, and just kind of having to like come to a place. I obviously had like low self-worth because I was tolerating that shit, right? So having to come to this place of like, I went into a period of celibacy and I wrote down everything that I wanted to attract in a relationship, and like just was unwilling to deal with anything less than like this absolute fucking legend of a human that I was calling in, which I read my manifestation back sometimes and like get really emotional because Jack literally represents like everything that I wrote down. I went on this breathwork retreat and actually had this vision of being in the red like Australian desert singing songs around a campfire with someone named Jack, who is my partner's name. This is before I met him or knew who he was. And so, yeah, like 2 weeks into meeting him, he put up on Facebook, like, I want to go to Uluru. Does anyone want to come with? And I had messaged him. I was like, this is going to sound fucking weird, but I had this vision when I was in Bali and in a 3.5 hour breathwork session of singing songs in the Red Australian desert with someone named Jack. So do you want to take this trip together? And yeah, that was like 2 weeks into us dating. So it's pretty cool. No, we weren't even dating then, but once we went on the trip, we'd been dating for 2 weeks. So yeah.
That's what sparked everything, that trip?
Yeah, he messaged me because we kind of had each other on social media but had never met. And so he sent me a voice note being like, hey, I know you've got kids and I don't really like know any other kind of young conscious parents. It'd be great to connect with someone that has kids and isn't a total dickhead, you know? And yeah, so we like met up for a smoothie and went to the beach and I was like immediately in love with him. I was like, oh my God, he's so hot. And he's got such a beautiful heart and I feel so safe with him and he's fucking sexy. And but I had to like just play it cool because he'd been 6 months out of divorce with his ex-wife. And so I was like, I'm not going to fucking overwhelm this guy. Yeah. But I was like, he's the one. So I just had to play it cool. And then like a couple weeks later, he sent me a voice note and wanted to go out for dinner. I was like, oh, is it a date? Like, I don't know. I was so excited. I got all dressed up, went to dinner. 10 minutes into dinner, he was like, so I just want to share that I've got feelings for you, that I'm more than a friend. If you don't share them, that's cool. I'd love to stay friends. But if you do, I'd love to explore that. I literally like slapped the table. I was like, fuck yes, fuck yes. Yeah, not subtle at all. Like not feminine, play it cool. Like let him sweat a little bit. Just like, fuck yes. And so, yeah, we went for a little walk and had our first kiss. And yeah. And we've also been through lots of challenges, but we're in a really fucking good, healthy place. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, he shows up powerfully in his own life, like works out, eats really well, is crushing it in, like he's joined me in the doTERRA business, but also runs his own coaching. Like he has a men's group called Unchained that he runs, like an online group program for men. He's a facilitator at the Gathering of Men, which is a big men's retreat. And he does one-on-one coaching as well. And he's fucking powerful and just also hilarious, loves to dance, is an amazing singer and is extremely good looking. So yeah, I'm very lucky. You've met him.
Sounds like a great man. Yes, yeah. I met him briefly on the event as well. Yeah. He looks cool. He looks like a really cool guy.
Yeah.
What are the 3 biggest pieces of advice that you will give to your younger self or people that are in on a similar journey when it comes to business, that they're creative entrepreneurs, you know, they're trying to get ahead, make things happen, but they just keep getting knocked down, you know? Like what are the 3 pieces of advice that you can think that could make their life and journey easier?
I think you just have to relentlessly back yourself, like no matter what. Just continue to show up in the direction of your dreams, like every day, and just like trust and follow your heart. Don't listen to other people. Don't listen to, you know, you said that when you started your videography business, everyone was like, that's so dumb. Like be a dentist. That's a smarter option, whatever. You just had to not listen to that shit, right? Because if you listen to other people, you go back to dentistry or do some other boring shit with your life and you're following your heart and look at you, you're crushing it. So follow your heart, trust yourself, back your own fucking dreams and just relentlessly go out after them. And you're going to have to cop rejection. Like it's going to be hard. It's not going to be like, oh yeah, so I've spoken to 3 people and all 3 people want to do business with me. Like, you know, you're going to have to just get through the rejection and just fully back yourself no matter what.
Yeah. Rejection is a big one. Hey, like once you get comfortable with it and understand like, okay, they're the ones missing out.
Totally.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do business with me, that's cool. You're missing out. Like,
exactly.
But there are people waiting. There are people that are literally like on their knees hoping that something like what I have to offer is going to come into their life. So I've just got to keep showing up and find those people because those people will be grateful. And the other people that are like, no, that's like, ew, I wouldn't want to be involved with that. Like, cool, man. Other people do. So I'm going to keep showing up for those people.
Yeah. What's the best piece of advice that you have ever received?
The best is to just like keep being myself. The worst is be more like Gandhi or be more like other people and then you'll be more palatable and people will like you more. It's like, cool, whatever, man. Like being myself triggers the fuck out of people and also people either like really love or really don't like me. And the best advice is to just be okay with that. Like I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to be myself and to empower people. And sometimes that triggers people. If I'm calling them on their shit and I'm calling on them on where they're not showing up, they can either be like, fuck you, or they can be like, thank you. And then choose to do better or do differently so they can thrive.
Yeah, sick. Is there anything on this conversation that I didn't ask you that you wish I did?
I don't think so. I think your questions have been really amazing. I've really enjoyed the conversation with you.
Thank you. It's been all channel in the moment.
That's always the best way to do everything.
That's why I love keeping a conversation completely real. You know, of course I had stuff that I wanted to ask you, but I always just want to see what unfolds. Because if there's no script, you know, the conversation can just reveal itself the way that maybe it's just supposed to go, kind of thing.
Totally.
Jessie, where can people find you? Where can people work with you or learn more about you? Tell them.
I love Instagram for that. My Instagram channel is at Jessie, Jessie _ Reimers, REIMERS. My website is getafreshstart.com.au. And yeah, I'm on Facebook and stuff as well, but Instagram, my website, my YouTube channel as well, which is again my name, Jessie Reimers. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
As always, the links will be down below. If you want to support the podcast so we can continue to bring people like Jessie in here, high-level entrepreneurs that can provide tools for you to achieve everything and anything you want in your life, the best way to support the podcast is to leave a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Subscribe on YouTube, leave a like, a comment if you enjoyed the episode. Follow us on every social media platform at The Creative Grid. I'm at Nell for Life, and I'll see you on the next episode. Good vibes for everyone. You.